Good afternoon and welcome to Something About Being Out. I've not been on YouTube or Facebook Live for quite some time. The reason being is I've been trying to write my book. It's a mammoth task. So yeah, that's what I've been doing at the moment. So it will eventually get finished, but it's a work in motion. So at the moment, I'm just going to do a little bit of filming and recording. I've been a bit down recently. I am now classed as disabled, so I just do what work I can do. I'm classed as disabled due to my mental health condition. I have good days and I have bad days. I'm not going to dwell on that. So the reason why I've come on today is to talk about my quest to catch my third river barbel now. Recently, I've on the Northern River. Over the last 2 years, I have caught countless numbers of chub in the river and a couple of barbel. So what I've found on that particular river, when I've caught them, it's either running off or rising. I find both good, but the particular stretch I have been fishing, and I know it's not the same on every river, it isn't. I watched There's Taylor Angling, and you can catch barbel on low rivers in right spots. I totally understand and agree with that, but in my experience of fishing days and having to travel, the best conditions for me when I've caught have been each time the river has a good flush through. That seems to be best on that particular river. And also on this particular river, the same thing happens as Des Taylor says on the River Severn. As soon as sewerage goes in the river, it's rubbish fishing. And I found that as soon as they start pumping sewerage into the river, it just dies. So yeah, I had a good couple of sessions earlier. It's the first time that I've ever fished the rivers so early in the season, and that's a lot to do with working commitments and mainly working commitments and doing different things. When I was into my football and things like that, these overtook my fishing. So this is the first time I've actually fished this early in the summer, and I've found that when water levels are low, the oxygen levels get better, the fishing seems to get better. You will catch when the water levels are low, but with the sewerage going in, I had a really good session. The water levels went up, the river rose, and then what happened was they pumped sewage into the river, and for 2 weeks it was like someone had switched a switch. You just couldn't get a bite anywhere. And I tried different places on the river and it was all the same, but the fish just move away from the sewage, and then they still got to feed, but the river's that big, they're just difficult to find. So so I'm gonna take my camera and try and do some filming of me on the river. Right, one thing that I did do was basically I've every time we go fishing I take far too much tackle, whether that be from night fishing or on a day session. So I've had a big change. I bought a small bag. I'll talk you through all this when I'm actually on the bank, but I'll tell you visually, I'll talk you through it. Visually, I'll video and show you through it, but this one I'll just talk you through it. My experience of working in a fishing tackle shop, there's an array of luggage, and sometimes the bigger the bag, the more stuff you take, and I'm totally guilty of that, so I've gone out and bought the smallest bag, because basically when you're river fishing, what you need is your essentials, and when you've just got your essentials, you're more likely to move. River fishing is totally different than fishing still waters, especially if you're on a syndicate or something. When you've got so much gear, it doesn't matter because you've got a base and you're basically fishing from that peg most of the time because you can mostly cast, but river fish move. So what I would say is minimal tackle and the essentials. So you need to take enough leads. So generally what I do is take a dozen leads, a packet of hooks. 10 hooks will do me a day session, and then I keep my other hooks in a stock box in my tackle shed, so I'm not losing hooks if anything happens, you know, if it's windy or anything like that. So basically what I'm saying is just take what you need for that day. You know, a kilo of boilies is more than ample when you're fishing for fish on the rivers. I tend to use PVA mesh and just cast in with that with 3 or 4 baits around it, and then just top it up every now and again. So at least when you put your PVA bag in, you know that there is some bait not far from your hook bait, and it's not a lot of bait to put in to move. If you put 3 or 4 boilies in, you know, you're more tempted to move than if you put your whole lot of boilies in. And I think that's the key on a river, is you need to find where the fish are and where they're feeding on that particular day, and that changes, that's forever changing due to river levels, it's due to temperature, it's due to where the natural food is. Fish have fins, they move, so you've got to be prepared to move and look for signs of fish, and even just try a different spot rather than fishing the same spot all of the time. So yeah, so going back to minimum tackle, so my minimum tackle is a dozen leads, 10 hooks, hook length, scissors, forceps, baiting needle. There's all my essentials, and I always take one of each. Everything else I leave spare in my box. When I get home, if I lose something, I can just replace it from my box. That's how I prepare for a little roving session. And in that little bag, I also put my boilers in there, and then everything that I need is in there. My PVA's in there as well, and then everything's to hand. Don't need anything else. I do like to take a larger unhooking mat. I feel it's safer for the barbell, and I also like to take a retaining sack. So I always take that with me. I have a compact landing net, so that landing net goes into my unhooking mat. So everything, I can carry that in my right hand, put my bag over my shoulder. I've also got a rod quiver, and in my rod quiver I've got a couple of rods, a couple of reels, prodding stick, sky pod, and also my alarms and butt grips go into my bag. So I know into me unhooking mat, so I know everything that I need is all in one place, and that's pretty much all I need on the river, and that makes me more mobile and more likely to move on to fish if I need to, because if you're bivvied up and you've got all, I will take a chair, but I can manage without a chair. I've actually got rid of my bucket, just less weight, less bulkiness. So yeah, that's pretty much how I'm going to fish at the moment, and I'll always have an umbrella in my rod sleeve as well, and that is everything. I don't need anything else. I can find somewhere to sit down, but I do stand up because it's good for my back. But if I want to take a chair, I can. And I tested it yesterday. Everything that I'm taking with me is good to go. So yeah, I have everything. I can also just take a block of luncheon meat out of the freezer, which I will do, and then I can use that. So yeah, that's really good. So that's just a talk on what I'm going to do. I'm also going to go around and I'm going to film what I do, where I go, and try and make a good video out of it. So it's from David Something About Being Out. Thank you very much for watching. See you on the next live. Bye bye.